as Ishmael's children themselves had children, his descendants increased and formed tribes which spread out all over Arabia. One of these tribes was called Quraysh. Its people never moved away from Mecca and always lived near the Kaba. One of the duties of the leader of Quraysh was to look after those who came on pilgrimage to the Kaba. The pilgrims would come from all over Arabia, and it was a great honor to provide them with food and water. As time passed, however, the Arabs stopped worshipping Allah directly and started bringing idols back with them from the different countries they visited. These idols were placed at the Kaaba, which was no longer regarded as the sanctuary of Allah as Abraham had intended it, however, still respected by the Arabs. Around this time, the well of Zamzam disappeared beneath the sand. Also at this time, Quraysh, one of the leaders of Quraysh, became ruler over Mecca. He held the keys of the temple and had the right to give water to the pilgrims, to feed them, to take charge of meetings, and to hand out war banners before battle. It was also in his house that Quraysh settled their affairs. After Quraysh's death, his son, Abdul Manaf, who had become famous during his father's lifetime, took over the leadership of Quraysh. After him came his son, Hashim. It is said that Hashim was the first to begin the two great caravan journeys of Quraysh, one in the summer to Syria and the north, and one in the winter to Yemen and the south. As a result, Mecca grew rich and became a large and important center of trade. One summer, Hashim went north to buy goods to sell in Yemen. On his way, he stopped in Yathrib to trade in the market, and there he saw a beautiful woman. She was Salma, the daughter of Amr ibn Zayd, who was from a much respected family. Hashim proposed marriage to her and was accepted because he was an honorable and distinguished man. In time, Salma gave birth to a beautiful son, and as some of his hair was white, they called him Sheba, which in Arabic means gray-haired. Mother and son stayed in the cooler, healthier climate of Yathrib, while Hashim returned to Mecca. But he would visit them each time he took his caravan to the north. During one of these journeys, however, Hashim became ill and died. Sheba, a handsome, intelligent boy, grew up in his uncle's house in Yathrib. He was proud of being the son of Hashim ibn Abdi Manaf, the head of Quraysh, guardian of the Kaaba, and protector of the pilgrims, even though he had not known his father, who had died while Sheba was very young. At Hashim's death, his brother Al-Muttalib took over his duties and responsibilities. He traveled to Yathrib to see his nephew, Sheba, and decided that as the boy would one day inherit his father's place, the time had come for him to live in Mecca. It was hard for Salma, Sheba's mother, to let her son go with his uncle, but she finally realized that it was for the best. Al-Muttalib returned to Mecca, entering the city at noon on his camel with Sheba behind him. When the people of Mecca saw the boy, they thought he was a slave and, pointing at him, called out Abd al-Muttalib. Ab being the Arabic for slave, Al-Muttalib told them that Sheba was not a slave, but his nephew, who had come to live with them. From that day on, however, Sheba was always affectionately called Abd al-Muttalib. On the death of al-Muttalib, who died in Yemen where he had gone to trade, Abd al-Muttalib took his place. He became the most respected member of his family, loved and admired by all. He was, however, unlike those Arabs who had given up the teachings of Abraham. History about Al-Biruni in the Ketable Hind. Al-Biruni was born in 970 in Kharazm, in present-day Uzbekistan. Kharazm was an important center of learning, and Al-Biruni received the best education available. At the time, he was well versed in several languages: Syriac, Arabic, Persian, Hebrew, and Sanskrit altered. He did not know Greek. He was familiar with the works of Plato and other Greek philosophers, having read them in Arabic translation. In 1017, when Sultan Muhammad innovated Kharism, he took several scholars and poets back to his capital Ghazni. Al-Biruni was one of them. He arrived in Ghazni as a hostage, but gradually developed a liking for the city, where he spent the rest of his life until his death. At the age of 70, it was in Ghazni that Al-Vidani developed an interest in India. This was not an Israel sounds good. Works on astronomy, mathematics, and medicine had been translated into Arabic from the 8th century onwards, when the Punjab became a part of the Ghaznavid Empire. Contacts with the local population helped create an environment of mutual trust and understanding. Al-Biruni spent years in the company of Brahmana, priests and scholars, learning suspect, and is to die in religious and philosophical texts. While his itinerary is not clear, it is likely that he traveled widely in the Punjab and parts of northern India. Travel literature was already an accepted part of Arabic literature by the time he wrote. This literature dealt with lands as far apart as the Sahara Desert in the west, of River Volga in the north. So while few people in India would have read Al-Biruni before 1500, many others outside India may have done so. The Kitab-ul-Hind, Al-Biruni is Kitab-ul-Hindi, written in Arabic, is simple and lesseed. It is a voluminous that divided into 80 chapters on subjects such as religion and philosophy, festival, astronomy, alchemy, manners and customs, social life, wits and measures, iconography, laws and metrology. Generally taught, not always. Al-Biruni erupted a distinctive instruct